Picture it, September 1999, the PlayStation is arguably the most exciting place to be on the planet. We are collectively losing our minds over the 4-disc melodrama of Final Fantasy VIII, checking every dark corner for the nemesis in Resident Evil 3, and trying to figure out how to pull off a 900 in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. It was a year full of titans, a time when the grey box was so crowded with masterpieces that you actually had to make hard choices about where your limited pocket money was going, and in the middle of that storm, I made a choice that I'm only just now starting to regret. As a kid, I was a die-hard Naughty Dog fan. I'd spun through the jungles, navigated the space stations, and even survived the time-travelling chaos of the original trilogy, but when the orange marsupial traded his denim shorts for a go-kart, I checked out. I've always been kart shy, the kind of player who prefers snapping plastic bricks together in Lego races over worrying about racing lines or suspension physics. I just assumed Crash Team Racing was a standard issue Mascot cash-in, designed to keep the brand alive for one more holiday season before the PS2 arrived. For 27 years, I've lived in a world where Crash Team Racing is spoken of as a mechanical masterpiece, the supposed Mario Kart killer that introduced depth that the genre hadn't seen yet. Today, the avoidance ends. Armed with zero nostalgia and only a few matches of the modern remake under my belt, I'm sitting down to play the 1999 original for the first time. It's time to find out if I spent my childhood distracted by the wrong games, or if this Bandicoot victory lap is just a relic best left in our collective multiplayer memory.
Greetings, creatures of this planet. I come to compete. So, you pesky earth slugs like to race, eh? Well, I, nitrous oxide, am the fastest racer in the galaxy. I travel the stars looking for creatures to test my skills. It's a little game I call survival of the fastest. Here's the way we play. I challenge the best driver of your world to a race for the planet. If your driver wins, I'll leave your miserable little rock alone. But if I win, I'll turn your entire globe into a concrete parking lot and make you my slaves. Get ready to race for the fate of your planet.
Welcome to the PSX Index. I'm Parasine, and this is the show where I play and document all 1,278 PS1 games released across Northern America, and this episode is Index entry 211. It is honestly a bit surreal to be standing at the starting line of this specific game. Usually when we hit a heavy hitter in the Index, I'm leaning on decades of muscle memory. I'm usually the one explaining the secrets or the hidden paths I discovered back in the middle of school, but with Crash Team Racing, I'm a total tourist. While the rest of you were mastering the triple boosts or unlocking entropy, I was likely off exploring a different genre entirely, convinced that I just wasn't a racing guy. But as we move deeper into this project, the "I was busy" excuse doesn't fly anymore. We've cleared the Disney marathons, we've documented the Bobcat, and now we have to face the music. We are stepping into Naughty Dog's final contribution to the PlayStation 1 library, their absolute swan song before they moved on to Jak, Daxter and the next generation. We're going to see if their technical wizardry can turn a skeptic into a believer, or if I'm just going to spend the next hour spinning into the abyss. Let's see if I can finally learn how to drive. There is a palpable weight to this game that has nothing to do with the physics or the karts. By late 1999, Naughty Dog was already looking towards the future. They knew the PlayStation 2 was on the horizon, and they knew their time with the Bandicoot was drawing to a close. Most developers in that position would have phoned it in, delivered a competent, safe racer, and saved the real innovation for the next generation. But Naughty Dog has never really been the safe studio. Instead of a quick cash-in, they decided to build a technical swan song that effectively squeezed every last drop of power out of the original grey box. When you look at Crash Team Racing, you aren't just seeing a racing game, you're seeing the culmination of everything they've learned while building the first 3 Crash titles. The vibrant colours, the expressive animations, and that signature crunchy sound design are all here, but they've been recalibrated for a high-speed momentum. For a first-time player like me, the level of detail is staggering. The karts aren't just sliding over flat textures. The world feels reactive. It has that same high-gloss polish we saw in Warped, but applied to a genre that usually required massive compromises just to keep the frame rate stable. This was Naughty Dog's final gift to the PS1 library, and you can feel the pride in every pixel.
The more Wumpa fruit you collect, the faster your kart will go. If you collect and hold 10 Wumpa fruit, you'll be juiced up, and your power-up will become more potent.
Now, as someone who grew up with the just hold the accelerator and pray philosophy of LEGO racers, sitting down with Crash Team Racing for the first time was a genuine system shock. Within the first 3 laps, I realised I had been fundamentally wrong about what this game was. I expected a casual run through the Wumpa Islands. What I got was a rhythm game masquerading as a racer. The central mechanic here is the power slide, and let me tell you, it is not for the faint of heart. It's not just about drifting, it's about a triple boost timing window that requires you to watch your exhaust fumes and hit the shoulder buttons with the precision of a professional drummer. For a non-racing guy, this was terrifying. Most kart games want you to feel like a hero just for staying on the track, but Crash Team Racing demands that you master its geometry. There is a specific frantic humour in watching me, a person who adores these characters, struggle to coordinate a simple turn while being pelted by tracking orbs and explosive crates. It's a steep learning curve, but there's a click moment when you finally chain 3 perfect boosts together and blast past the cheating AI Ripperoo. You realise why 10% of people who mastered this game back in '99 never stopped talking about it. It's not just the race, it's a high stakes mechanical dance, and I'm currently the guy with 2 left feet. One of the biggest reasons I was wrong to dismiss this as a Mario Kart clone is the sheer structural ambition of the adventure mode. In most races of this era, you select a character from a flat menu, win a trophy, and watch a static screen of your driver holding a cup. Crash Team Racing rejects this entirely. It adopts the hub world philosophy that Naughty Dog perfected in the Crash platformers, giving you a physical space to drive through, secrets to find, and literal boss fights to overcome. It feels like a platformer on wheels. You aren't just checking off a list of tracks, you're exploring the Wumpa Islands, earning keys to unlock new areas, and eventually staring down nitrous oxide to save the planet. There's a genuine sense of progression here that I haven't seen in other kart races. Even the boss fights, like the TNT toss and Ripperoo, feel like legitimate tests of your driving skill rather than just faster AI. For a first timer, this structure is what makes the game sticky. It gives me a reason to keep going beyond just wanting to see the next track, and it's a design choice that I think more modern racers should have stolen. As I sit here wrestling with the controls, I keep thinking about Crash Bash. If you've been in the comments of this channel for a while, you know I have a weird nostalgic love for the Bandicoot's party game debut. In my memory, Bash was the pinnacle of multiplayer chaos, a title I've always defended despite its reputation for being a repetitive grind, but playing Crash Team Racing for the first time is forcing me to confront a difficult truth. The Naughty Dog polish is a very real thing. There is a mechanical weight and level of care here that Crash Bash simply didn't have. While Bash often felt like a collection of decent ideas stretched within a few mini-games, Crash Team Racing feels like a singular, focused vision. It makes me wonder if my love for Bash is just a relic of the multiplayer pinball memory, or a ghost of a Friday night with a multi-tap and a pizza, rather than a reflection of actual quality. We'll find out for sure when we reach that entry in the index, but for now, Crash Team Racing is making a very strong case that not all spin-offs are created equal. One was a masterpiece built by the architects of the franchise, the other was a placeholder, and 27 years later, that gap in quality is impossible to ignore.
Step out of the car now, sir.
You're way over the speed limit. You've run 2 guys off the road. You've been throwing green stuff into the path of oncoming vehicles.
Step out of the car now.
We got you on video.
Hey, Murphy, look what I found in the trunk.
There is an undeniable Bandicoot energy that radiates from this game, and it's something I think I've always taken for granted. In the previous platformers, Crash was a chaotic, explosive force, but here, Naughty Dog had to translate all our personality into the driver's seat for a tiny kart. It's remarkable how well it works. These characters aren't just static portraits on a selection screen, they're alive. Whether it's Tiny Tiger's massive frame nearly crushing his vehicle, or Coco's focused intensity, the roster feels curated rather than just filled. As a first timer, I'm finding myself constantly distracted by the animations. Every time you hit a bowling bomb or a beaker, your character reacts with that classic squash and stretch slapstick that made the original trilogy so endearing. It keeps the tone light even when the difficulty is spiking. It's a reminder of why Crash became the definitive mascot for the console. He wasn't just a cool design, he was a character who felt like he was having just as much of a weird, frantic time as you were. So, after 27 years of avoidance, what is the verdict of a self-proclaimed non-racing guy? Honestly, I feel like I owe Naughty Dog an apology. I've spent a few hours now with the PlayStation 4 remake, and while that version is a technical marvel in its own right, there is a very specific crunch to this 1999 original that just can't be replicated. There is a weight to the physics and a directness to the controls that feel incredibly honest. It doesn't have the modern bells and whistles, but it doesn't need them. The core loop of mastering a track, finding the perfect line, and nailing that triple boost is just as addictive now as I imagine it was when the world was worrying about Y2K. I went into this thinking Crash Team Racing might be a relic, a game that lived and died on the nostalgia of people who played it as a kid, but it's not. It's a legitimately deep, mechanically superior racer that actually respects the player's intelligence. I was wrong to skip it for the big hitters of 1999, because it turns out Crash Team Racing was a big hitter all along. I might still be a fan of the simplicity in LEGO racers, but I can finally see why this game is the undisputed king of the genre on the system. It's not just good for a licensed game, it's just plain good.
みんなで楽しくレーシング、クラッシュバンディクーレーシング。
Taking the checkered flag in Crash Team Racing for the first time feels like finally being let in on a 27-year-old secret. I came into this as a non-racing guy, a LEGO Racers loyalist who assumed the Bandicoot was just spinning his wheels for a paycheck. But Naughty Dog didn't just make a kart racer, they built a mechanical masterpiece that demands the kind of rhythmic precision I usually associate with high-tier platformers. I might have skipped the starting line in 1999, but I'm leaving the Wampa Islands in 2026 as a total convert. 211 games down, 1,067 to go. Trying to document all 1,278 games is a lot like trying to win a trophy race on a track you've never seen before. If you miss even one turn or lose your momentum, the algorithm will pass you by without a second thought. YouTube's current landscape isn't really built for a driver who keeps switching lanes. It wants you to pick one track and stay on it, whether that's survival horror or sports. But the PSX Index is a multi-tap project. It needs to cover the entire grid, from the 100-acre woods to the darkest corners of the library, and that kind of variety needs a pit crew to keep it running. Right now, only 10% of you watching this are actually subscribed. That means 90% of you are essentially racing without a save file. One glitch in the algorithm and you'll lose your place in the index forever. If you want to make sure you hit that 1,278 game finish line, hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and drop a comment to boost the rhythm and groove in the rankings. You can also explore the curated playlists on your screen to keep the history we've already locked into the vault. Next time on the PSX Index, we are slamming the brakes on the high-speed fun and killing the lights. We're trading the sunny tracks of the Wampa Islands for a slow, agonising crawl through the shadows of the survival horror genre. We're going to find out if the point-and-click nightmare can still make us jump, and if a pair of giant scissors is enough to ruin our sleep schedule for the next week. Get ready for Index entry 212 and 213, Clock Tower and Clock Tower 2, The Struggle Within. The engine is off, the doors are locked, and I'll see you in the dark.